My name is Dr. Benedict Carpenter van Barthold. I'm the Cultural Director at Vieunite, and I'm attending this Responsible AI session at the University of Nottingham today in order to learn more from fellow entrepreneurs about how they are using and developing AI in a responsible and sustainable fashion. Vieunite is a unique ecology of a beautiful piece of hardware, a screen that creates a feeling of presence and connection with art and other forms of culture. There's the hardware, the library of content, and our curation team who source world-class material and bring that to consumers and businesses worldwide. So you're probably wondering how we use AI in that, because a large part of what we offer is a connection with existing cultural assets, which we're very careful to take back to the attributable author and manage all of the copyright implications of that. There are two ways, though, that we use AI. The first is generative image creation. So once you've got one of our Textura canvases, if you want material which serves a very particular need, we don't have those assets in the library, you can create those and bring them to your canvas. I think really the more meaningful uses of AI for us are around the curation and personalization of the experience. So it's one thing having a library. The larger the library gets, the harder it is for any individual user to find meaningful material within that library, material that's really going to spark joy in their lives or improve their health and well-being, whatever their intended application or use for this might be. And so we've developed a number of AI tools that will help to personalize that. That might be based along simple kind of recommendation algorithms, but perhaps I think more significantly is the work that we've done at the company to create a biophilic curator that is able to assess the existing library for the likelihood that an individual asset is going to promote a sense of health and well-being through a connection with nature. So the entire library has been marked and categorized with that in mind. And so if you are thinking about enlivening perhaps a relatively drab or even windowless office space, through our technology you can improve the productivity and well-being, quality of life of the people that work in that space by finding the right assets. Other uses that we have for generative AI are around improving the storytelling around each asset. So we make sure that we've got absolutely accurate information about every piece of work that an artist has made, but that's just the beginning of telling their story in a full fashion. So we actually leverage quite a lot of AI to help do that as well, and employ diligence to make sure that there's no hallucination within that after the fact. In the specific domain of art and culture, I think that generative AI poses a number of very significant challenges. I think that it has upset a lot of creators who are worried about their artistic voice being inappropriately used and other people being able to, other corporations, corporate entities being able to monetize their creativity in a vampiric manner. And we can already see the disruption that that's had in, for instance, image licensing and the impact that that's made particularly on how photographs are licensed. I'm thinking of sites like Shutterstock and so forth, where now you're kind of funneled down as the first solution to your image needs, kind of generative AI workflow. And that does potentially remove revenue from human creative. So that's definitely a challenge. But I think long term, one of the challenges that's a challenge to the creator. And if you like, it's an advantage to the AI entrepreneur. But long term, I don't know really how sustainable that is, because it's hard to create genuinely original outputs through an AI without significant human intervention, that's just another form of authorship, really. It takes you back to the human creative. It's a different workflow. It's something that people got to get used to, sure, but it's still about human creativity. But I think that the other challenge for people that go deep into trying to sort of monetize their generative AI capacities is that as there's more and more of that algorithmically generated content out there, I think for anything other than sort of wallpaper purposes, it's not going to have the same kind of power, impact, or meaning. It's not going to enrich and enliven people's lives in the same way as art and culture can. And I want you to imagine this scenario. So think about getting married or going to a funeral. It's your funeral, okay? It's your funeral in this scenario. You're planning your own funeral. Are you going to have a piece of music that is played, that is written by an algorithm? I don't think so, because in those meaningful moments, you want that human connection, that human touch. And so I think human authenticity actually will become more valuable in the future rather than less valuable, because it'll be in contradistinction to the kind of general prevalence, homogeneity of AI-generated outputs. And this is a new landscape that I think creatives and consumers are going to have to get used to. I think the challenge for creatives is how they can use AI to improve their own productivity, how they can work with generative AI to ensure that their work is visible and discoverable, and also to make sure that they can tell their story in a really compelling way and not be dissociated from their creative assets. And there's lots more I could talk about in this field, but that's probably enough. The process of being involved in the RAISE AI project has been great. It's been amazing to talk to academic researchers as well as entrepreneurs in this field and to have a conversation that goes from principles to action in a really seamless and impactful manner.